U.S. plans satellite network to track hypersonic weapons of China and Russia. The United States plans to launch 150 satellites that can track hypersonic weapons in orbit in 2024, a move observers say is aimed at helping the Pentagon control assets in space and keep a close watch on Chinese activities. According to a draft request for proposals released by the Space Development Agency (SDA) last week, it is seeking a contractor to design and build 8 satellites with infrared sensors to track hypersonic weapons, U.S. online military tech publication C4ISRNET reported. Those satellites would be part of the agency's initial group of 20 to be ready by 2022, the first step towards its goal of having hundreds of interconnected satellites operating in low Earth orbit, the report said. It plans to add more advanced satellites in the following 2 years. It comes after the U.S. Missile Defense Agency (MDA) released a draft request for proposals in February, saying it was seeking to design and build an interceptor missile to defend against regional hypersonic weapons threats. He Qisong, a space defense expert at the Shanghai University of Political Science and Law, said the satellite plan would help the U.S. military to monitor weapons developed by its 2 key rivals, China and Russia. This 150-satellite network is part of America's plan to launch more than 42,000 satellites into outer space to monitor everything, including hypersonic weapons, anti-satellite missiles and other cutting-edge technologies, owned by China and Russia, he said. And with the help of the SDA's satellite tracing network in space, the MDA will be more capable of intercepting and knocking down all kinds of airborne weapons launched by China and Russia. SpaceX, the California-based private U.S. aerospace manufacturer and space transport firm, plans to launch more than 42,000 satellites into orbit to create a wireless internet service called Starlink. That plan, filed with telecommunications authorities in January, is roughly triple the number of satellites put into orbit by anyone so far. He said the SDA could work with SpaceX. It's possible their satellite program will be part of the SpaceX plan, which would also help the Missile Defense Agency with its plan to build a hypersonic defense regional glide phase weapon system interceptor, he said. He added that the SDA President Donald Trump's missile defense strategy unveiled last year, a sweeping plan reminiscent of the Star Wars program in the 1980s. While that program, officially known as the Strategic Defense Initiative, never developed, it cast a long shadow over Moscow's political and economic calculations and arguably contributed to the 1991 breakup of the Soviet Union. As part of Trump's goal for America to regain and maintain its dominance in space, the U.S. Space Force, a new branch of the country's armed services, was established in December. The SDA was established in March last year in response to criticism the U.S. military was not keeping up with the innovation happening in the space industry. The agency was given authority to cut red tape and acquire commercially developed space technologies, and it is to become part of the Space Force by October 2022. The Pentagon is going to bring in more satellites developed by civilian companies to strengthen their control over space assets. The draft of an executive order was released on May 6, he said. He was referring to the Trump administration's proposal for mining on the moon under a new U.S.-sponsored international agreement called the Artemis Accords, according to Reuters. It reported that the Russian space agency, Roscosmos, a key partner with NASA on the International Space Station, would not be an early partner in the accords because the Pentagon viewed Moscow as hostile for making threatening satellite maneuvers towards U.S. spy satellites in Earth orbit.